Yo, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to Tay TV. In my video, I will be reacting to Boruto's time skip just got crazier. Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 6. This is for Neverroar giving his review on this chapter. Let's hear his thoughts and what he thinks about this chapter. Let's get into this video.
Decided to throw down the gauntlet with having Boruto and Mitsuki going at it. What the heck is going on? Like, I know since 2 Blue Vortex's inception, it's basically been the world against Boruto, but I'm just saying things is heating up, things is getting crazy, and yeah, we gonna talk about it right now. Let's go.
This is for my day ones, gotta be clear. Still moving on, baby, but I wish she was here. Still moving on, baby, but I gotta get there.
So this chapter could definitely be looked at in a few different ways. You could interpret it in a few different ways. One, you could look at it for the action-packed and insane, very on the edge type of chapter that it was, because ultimately, yeah, Boruto is still not wanted in the village by most, and ultimately an outlaw and a criminal, so him returning to the village, as long as he's there, you're gonna be feeling a little bit of tension. However, on another side of things, and let's not forget that, you know, he's about to be fighting one of his best friends. But then on the other side of things, you could possibly look at it as a bit heartbreaking, the fact that Boruto has to face one of his best friends, and his best friend doesn't even realize that, wait a minute, this guy is not actually who I think he is. And oddly enough, it feels like Mitsuki would have been one of the characters to overcome the Tsukuyomi, considering he had such a fixation on Boruto throughout the entirety of the part 1 story. So yeah, it definitely gets a little bit more heartbreaking, a little bit more tragic, and ultimately a crazy chapter. But 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 6 starts off with the cover page with Hokage Shikamaru, or quote-unquote Hokage Shikamaru. High-key, they've been playing, and I will say that this chapter felt like potentially the fans might have manipulated certain events of this story because, well, it starts off with the elders of the village trying to force Shikamaru to formally accept the 8th Hokage position. He's basically still only an interim Hokage, not 110% the 8th Hokage. So kind of think Danzo when he was Hokage for like 5 minutes. Except it's been 3 years, as they actually point out in the chapter, since Shikamaru has said that he'll be Hokage, and ultimately said that in 3 years, if I'm assuming Naruto doesn't return, that he'll formally say, okay, I'm the 8th Hokage. But again, I gotta stress that I feel like there's a possibility they added that little wedge in there of he's not officially the Hokage due to fans giving backlash, saying that Shikamaru wasn't the strongest, he shouldn't have become Hokage, how could he be the one, he can't protect the village. Like, fans were very brutal, and maybe that could be the reason that they're trying to say, like, yo, he actually ain't the 8th Hokage, not yet. Of course, I'll eat my words if they actually confirm, and he later on says, nah, yeah, I'm 8th Hokage 100%. And I like the direction that things are going, because it could be very bland if everybody all at once knows, oh, wait a minute, everything was in reverse, Boruto is actually the good guy. So to have little by little breadcrumbs and one character at a time start to believe in Boruto sends out a message of, one, sticking to the plan and the goal and believing in yourself can make people believe in you even when they feel like there's absolutely no way that they should. Because the chapter goes on to having Shikamaru essentially pleading with Ino to help him send out secret thoughts to Boruto, which I'm not even gonna lie, it's kind of crazy to...
What makes Arcade tight is they have all these sounds for space. You know, it's just a bunch of cool sounds that you can...
to see Ino being like, what are you doing? And basically almost telling Shikamaru that she was gonna rat on him until he had to really play off that, yo dog, you know, we was team 10, you know what I'm saying? What are you doing here? But again, it just showcases that with everything going on, regardless, people still are gravitating towards Boruto and want to believe him despite their memories telling them otherwise. We get a scene of Ada breaking it down to Kawaki of what's been going on with the Ten Tails and the Shinju and everything that's been transpiring over on Code's side of things, and how basically that they're not only after Boruto and Kawaki now, but they're also after Naruto, and she even throws in, oh, they're after me as well. To which Kawaki essentially shows no interest whatsoever. It's like, wait a minute, they're going after the 7th? And Ada's like, but yeah, you know, and me. And he's like, but the 7th, who cares about you? Okay, he doesn't go that far, but yeah, essentially he doesn't really care about them being after her at all, which should be, you know, an inkling of, hey, maybe Kawaki doesn't care and won't care about me. And I love how Damon is so close to sticking to what his name stands for, because in case you don't know, most of the name references like Ada, Damon, they're all computer and technological references. And essentially a daemon in technical standpoint would basically be a processor that's like in the background, which daemon usually is. But he pops in with his 2 cents to tell Kawaki like, yo dog, you ain't kind of nervous that at the end of the day if they come over here looking for Naruto, you gonna be exposed as a fraud? Which I think most fans are waiting for that moment where they actually figure out the switcheroo that happened and everybody is like, oh my god! Because at that point then it would basically be absolutely no possible way for Kawaki to turn things around in his favor of people rocking with him, because yeah, they already didn't rock with homie beforehand. Now you find out what he's done to Naruto, Boruto, and everybody's lives and minds. It makes you wonder if they're going to be able to pull the same favor that they had for Sasuke at the end of Naruto for Kawaki, assuming that the story goes that direction. However, after Kawaki blows off Ada once again, he's like, yo dog, you're going to be watching me anyway, so if you want to watch me on some creep stuff, go ahead. Because even Mitsuki is outside also. And following that, we cut to a shipper's paradise because we got scenes of Sarada feeling awkward after the end of last chapter where she essentially threw herself to Boruto. Although, I'll be honest with you, again, it's playing more into the whole idea that they have feelings for each other or whatnot, because we've seen the Naruto characters throw themselves at one another and never really have this awkward moment. It's kind of like, yo dog, haven't seen you in 3 years. Yeah, I'm very excited. But I guess they want to play into the whole idea that it's definitely going to be Boruto X Sarada, and sorry fans, but there will not be no Boruto X Sumire. I feel like this chapter and the last chapter, many chapters have confirmed that notion. And I love the underwhelming reaction of Sarada when Boruto informs her like, yo dog, you fat? Yo dog, your pop's done turned into a tree. And like you just see like a break of sweat on the side of her face. Like you don't see her, bugging out or anything. It's just like, oh snap, for real? But we come back to Kawaki telling Mitsuki that he can feel that Boruto's there. And yeah, Mitsuki pulls out his snake. Pause. And rather than teaming up with him or just, letting Kawaki do what he does, Mitsuki calls Shikamaru to say Boruto's here. And yeah, he knocked out Kawaki, and you got to imagine the main reasoning is so that he don't have to take on the burden of going up against Boruto. Because remember, even though the roles are reversed of Boruto and Kawaki, ultimately Mitsuki still knows that Kawaki has a very deep love for Boruto. He's just doing what he's doing. But to Mitsuki's mind, essentially, it's that Boruto's a traitor and Kawaki's heart is torn. And there's a lot of back and forth, because then we cut to Shikamaru telepathing to Boruto after that combo that, yo, trust dog, you gotta dip. Trust me, I'm Hokage now. I'm good though, dog. I'm trying to tell you, you gotta dip. Mitsuki's about to pop up any second. And I'll be honest with you, I felt like it was a very tough call for Boruto to actually listen to Shikamaru, because in all honesty, that could very well be a trap. So Boruto's resistance and his Sasuke-esque attitude of barely responding was very appropriate. But Mitsuki shows up and wraps his snake around Boruto. Pause. And I love how Boruto continues to utilize all of these awesome techniques that he's learned over the time skip, straight up utilizing flying Raijin to escape the clutches of Mitsuki's snake. It really reminds you that, yeah, his grandfather was a prodigy and he's a prodigy. Naruto may have had to struggle, and don't get me wrong, let's not sleep on our boy Naruto, he did amazing things. But Boruto is a smart dude. Boruto is a child prodigy, and these chapters continue to showcase just that. Like, dog is using flying Raijin, come on. And it sets up the stage for Boruto versus Sage Mode Mitsuki, who is fully committed to this Irish woman because he is brainwashed. And shoutouts to Boruto utilizing yet again another technique that he's learned with the purple lightning. Yeah, Boruto might as well change his last name. Like, he don't got no last name. Maybe he should run with Uchiha for a while. If the people of the Leaf don't figure everything out, he should just put a Uchiha at the end of his name and call it a day. I'm just saying, like, yo, you the adopted son, you dig? And Boruto attempts an escape, leaping into the air, promising Sada that he's gonna free everyone. Probably ain't want to say Naruto though, because as he's about to, he kind of just stops himself. Ultimately, I wouldn't be surprised if Boruto, even in the midst of all of this, even with what Kawaki has put him through, he's probably still trying to protect them, because realistically he knows if and when the entire world knows of the switcheroo that happened, they are probably going to all want Kawaki's head. And it's the same scenario as his father. His father, they don't want nothing to happen to Sasuke, regardless of how dark and twisted Sasuke got. Boruto's probably feeling that same pressure of, if they find out about him, it's kind of a rizzy for him. I gotta play this delicately. And I think most people can agree that they were absolutely shocked when Shikamaru drops the bombshell to Boruto. Yo, I want to help you, you help me, we help each other, because, yeah, I'm starting to think maybe you're actually Boruto Uzumaki, aren't you? And as a reader and somebody that's been following the story, I will say that there's a certain level of suspension of disbelief that you kind of have to have about this whole situation. situation, because in all actuality, if you're seeing pictures all through their house of a little kid Boruto with his family, no pictures really of Kawaki up until he's like a teenager, the amount of mental gymnastics to get this whole situation to actually be palatable to anybody's brain is one heck of a challenge. So him finally saying, you're actually Boruto Uzumaki, aren't you? It's like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Like, oh, you really cracked the case, Shikamaru. But then again, at the end of the day, if people are in a deep level of brainwashing, then yeah, sometimes it can be hard to remove them from it. So he goes on to tell him that, yeah, I'm having a hard time accepting it, but everything kind of seems to fall into place properly when you swap the idea of you and Kawaki. It took you 3 years, Shikamaru, really? But I guess we got to give a shout out to Amado, who is 110% still running the show, despite in 6 chapters of the time skip only being seen once, because ultimately he's the one that dropped the breadcrumbs when he was talking with Sumide and said, yeah, it feels like my memories are swapped. Every step of the way, every plot twist, every movement of the story has always been carefully crafted by Amado. Since his inception into the manga, he has slowly but surely showcased that he is the one running the show. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a level of prediction or anticipation of even these events occurring from Amado, and he just kind of let it all rock. But ultimately, Amado saying that in the last chapter in front of Sumide about his memories being swapped, he knew that she was going to report it to the Hokage, and yeah, Amado is really the ringleader of most of this. Now, that's not to say that there ain't gonna be, the levels, because at the end of the day, if you go to Naruto, it was like, this villain was being controlled by this villain that was actually under control by this villain by that, there was a long line of puppeteering, and I do believe that that is going to be the case as well, even behind Amado. I don't think that he's going to be the full-on ringleader of things. Maybe it'll be the same scenario as what happened with Madara, how he thought he was running the show, and then ultimately, boom, is Zetsu and Kaguya, or it could be something else, because at the end of the day, how many people were really fond of the Kaguya plot twist? Let's be honest here, folks. However, the chapter wraps itself up with Mitsuki reaching and arriving to Boruto's location, and the battle is about to go down. Definitely this manga, I would say right now, is 110% unpredictable. I thought by now Boruto would have already left the village and we would have had some whole different story happening, but the fact that he returned to the village last chapter and he's currently fighting Mitsuki, and Shikamaru is actually trying to help him and starting to believe, and one by one people are actually coming around to the idea that maybe we were tricked on this whole situation, maybe we've been duped. It's setting the stage that potentially, unless things go in a complete disarray, that maybe Boruto might actually be able to revert all of this situation and all of this hatred that he's facing in his homeland and kind of set things straight, which would ultimately lead to Kawaki then having to vacate. But even on top of all that, let's not forget that the main threat that we actually are facing right now is those Shinju trees that have actually gained consciousness. So even if we actually turn the tables on Kawaki and revert things back in order to everybody understanding that this is Boruto Uzumaki and that's just Kawaki, we still have a threat that we don't really want to face, not to mention Code, and it's bad out here in these ninja streets. And ultimately, one hell of a chapter, Boruto continuing to raise the stakes and continuing to showcase that Boruto, even on his own, is a badass. He's using Flying Raijin, he's using Purple Lightning, he's going up against his best friend that is brainwashed, that he does not want to hurt. Let me know what you guys think. How did you feel about this chapter? Overall thoughts and expectations for the future of Boruto in chapter 7 and beyond of Two Blue Vortex. Do you think Kawaki is going to actually get exposed here soon for flipping everything, and what's going to happen with Ada with the Shinju Hundiker down? And your overall thoughts and expectations for the future of this manga. Can't freaking wait. That's all I have for this one. I'm Tim, and as always, people,